Hey, this is Healthful. I'm Emma.
And I'm Jade.
So grab a tea and let's get started. Hello, Jade.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm really good. How are you?
That's good. I'm glad.
What's the tea?
What is the tea? I've been seeing this thing going around a lot, and obviously in my studies, I'm a nutrition student, by the way, just in case you're wondering. I have seen a lot about the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. What is that?
Yeah, I think that's a really big question though, because there's so many, theories surrounding it, but also very solid ideas, things that we know about parasympathetic nervous system and sympathetic nervous system. But large take homes, I guess it's about rest, digest versus fight, flight.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I see you. Because we always talk about, what one are you? Like, in the situation, like, would you run or would you fight?
Yeah, exactly.
I thought that was not real, though. I'm not gonna lie. I thought that was just something that people said.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, it's just like, like a fun personality test.
Like I'm an introvert versus you're an extrovert, right?
Yeah, exactly. I thought that's what that was.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
guessing that's not true.
No,
Okay.
no.
All right.
So I guess if we get into the nitty gritty of sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system, can we just call it SN and PN?
Yeah, that's kind of like a tongue twister.
Yeah, it's such a
Parasympathetic nervous system.
Or
Parasympathetic
paras and sympath. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're trying to be.
What is what? Which is which?
So, let's start with sympathetics because I think that's the one that most people really understand very clearly. So we're talking, like we said, fight flight response. When we're in any kind of stress state, that's our sympathetic nervous system kicking in. Back in the day when we used to have to run from saber-toothed tigers and hunt our
woolly
food.
mammoth.
All about the woolly mammoth meat. And that was a state of being that helped us survive. It was a survival mechanism. And without that, we couldn't run away from the tiger. So our blood wasn't going to our limbs to help us, nourish those muscles and get away from the tiger. At the time as well, we needed to make sure we could see where we were going. So our pupils would dilate bigger, let more light in so we know where we're going.
That's a real adrenaline state, isn't it?
Absolutely.
When they talk about when the adrenaline gets going, that's
exactly
what they mean.
That's that feeling. That's that sympathetic nervous system.
I get you.
And a whole bunch of other things as well that come with it, like your blood pressure increases again to get your heart pumping faster so you can, get away from that tiger again a little faster. Whole host of things. But, contrasting that, we've got the parasympathetics, right? So we've got that rest, digest. It's basically the times when we're not running away from the tiger. We're lounging around. We're zen. We're in the cave.
We're cool
just
as a cucumber.
Exactly. So our pupils are going to be not smaller per se, but all the effects that you would get from a sympathetic nervous system response are going to be the opposite in your parasympathetic response.
Yeah. I get you.
So it's calm. It's in modern day society we talk a lot about meditation and doing the things that we love and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of where
the yogi mentality.
100%. Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that makes a lot more sense now. I'm starting to grab my head around it. It does make me think though. Am I in the sympathetic nervous system then? Because I feel like society's kind of pushed us down that road, right?
Oh my God. I say this to patients all the time that we're not designed to live in this modern day lifestyle because we've got these constant pressures. Work is a big, I think, influence on people with their sympathetic nervous system switching on all the time and not being able to turn off. You think about it, the first thing you do, well, most of us do when we wake up in the morning is we wake up to an alarm.
Yeah. I feel like that's a very rude interruption into the
Isn't
world
it?
after sleeping.
And we don't follow the natural cycles of the earth anymore. We're not waking up at dawn or when the sun comes up naturally. Maybe there's a small percentage of people, luckily you can do that, but most of us don't, right?
No.
So, winter time comes around, we're meant to sleep in longer because the sunlight hours are not up as much.
Yeah.
We go to sleep when the sun goes down. We don't do that anymore. We've got all these artificial lights and whatnot that surprisingly also stimulate our sympathetic nervous system because the light, say computers, TV, your phones, it's actually tricking your brain into thinking that you're in an awake state. and you're in danger. Yeah.
Yeah, far out. Which is like, it's really tricky too, because like that's literally just the way it is. Like that's the way society has made us, you know? Like it's almost like that hustle mentality.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just like, that's what is so totally romanticized all over Instagram, you know? And it's like, oh my God, yeah, like I wake up at like 4:30 in the morning and I go working out and I do some work at 4:30 in the morning. Like, okay, just shut up. Shut up.
Stop living that life. Like, seriously.
Stop it.
Yeah, I think, oh God, we could make a whole podcast on the whole effects of social media and stuff like that
Ooh,
too. But
maybe we will.
spill the tea on
Is
social
that a
media.
topic idea? Quick, write it down.
Write it down. Notebook right here. But yeah, like I said, contrasting with the from sympathetics to parasympathetic stuff, it's like this big trend to drive more towards that parasympathetic state. And maybe I shouldn't call it a trend because it's actually a good thing for us.
The best trend that there is.
Yeah.
Like a lifestyle change, I guess.
Yeah.
More awareness.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess being in a parasympathetic PN state in a modern day society would be where, we're just chilling. We're like doing the things that we love. We're not
not fighting against nature. We're working with it almost to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Which I think honestly would make us all much happier.
Oh, definitely.
Like how many of us are depressed?
And stressed and have health problems. And
burnt out.
Yep.
You know, and I feel like maybe, I don't know, like what are the little things we can do to try and get ourselves back? Because like, look, as much as we wish that we could wake up with the sun and go to bed with the sun, but who wants to go to bed at like 6 o'clock? Because that's when it sets in winter. Like, hello.
Exactly.
But like, what can you do to try and like bring it back? Like, because obviously life is a way that it is now, and like there's not much we can do to change it. But surely there's something we can do to try and get ourselves back to that PM state.
Yeah, and I think so too, because like it's all about finding balance. I say this to patients as well every day, that there isn't, there's some elements in your life that you really can't change. Like your job, you can't change. Like you said, you don't always have the luxury of waking up when the sun comes up and sleeping when the sun sets, because we've got shit to do. You know? We've got busy lives here. So, I don't know, I guess it's just finding or making time. Maybe that's the thing for those activities or those habits that actually calm us down. So, in chiropractic, we often talk about 3 sort of pillars, I guess you could say, or sometimes I describe it like 3 parts of the triangle, where you've got physical, chemical, and emotional influences. So we talked kind of briefly before about, doing things that make you happy. I think that's really important.
Yeah, I mean, whatever that is. I know personally for me, I am my happiest when I do wake up for a sunrise and I'm in the ocean and I'm experiencing the sun birthing itself from, behind the
water.
The water, yeah. I was like, the world? I don't know. I'm on the world.
It comes from behind the ocean.
Behind the ocean. Yeah. It's like it's hiding in the ocean and it comes out.
And it says, hello, good morning.
But yeah, like I feel my most happiest, and like what a beautiful way to start the day. Yeah. Like, what if we just started off on the right foot to get ourselves from the get-go into that state, rather than it being, like, wake up, oh my God, it's an alarm, like, ah!
And you snooze it a couple of times.
Yeah, never snooze your alarm,
Never
kids.
snooze your alarm.
It's not good for your productivity.
No.
Actually, there is something that I have seen that one of my friends, absolutely, blown away. So it's like a sunrise lamp, and you can set it to your phone, and it actually, like, you can set a timer on it, so it's a sunrise lamp that turns on these beautiful colors of a sunrise when you want it to. Like, I don't know if that would work for all of us, because I don't know about you, but I sleep like the dead, so I don't know if it would wake me up, but it might help.
Oh, for I guess maybe more sensitive people.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like being woken up by light versus like a really loud noise. Like it's not nice.
Setting off your adrenal system. That's why we're so shitty in the morning typically. And then what do? We reach for coffee.
Coffee, which is not good for you.
No.
There's like this line that in one of Ziggy Albert's songs, and honestly, it resonates so hard with me. It's like, you're only drinking coffee to pull yourself off of the floor, and I'm just like, oh my God. Ziggy, you're speaking to me.
You're a philosopher now. But so true, right? Like, we're already set up in society to have these bad habits. Like, you set your alarm, you wake up at the freaking crack of dawn. Hey, even if that's for a good habit like exercise, I still think sometimes that's not necessarily a good thing. So you set your alarm at 5 o'clock in the morning, and you go to your intense CrossFit class,
high intensity
boxing.
training. Like, no, girl,
No.
calm down.
I'm sure for a very small percentage of the population that probably works really well for them. That gives them endorphins and they feel good by doing that. But I'd say that's probably, like I said, a small percentage of the population.
I think that's like another thing too, is that we look at these people and they're doing it and for them it works. So we think there's something wrong with us if that doesn't work for us. And then we put ourselves in these boxes and guess what? That pushes you into the sympathetic nervous system.
That's right.
That's stress.
What we're trying to avoid here.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's just, I think we need to start listening to our own bodies a little bit more even, you know, like, God, that would make a difference.
Oh yeah. So I guess maybe number one is finding, because movement's important. Movement can help put us in a sympathetic versus parasympathetic state too. So like we said before, if you're, I don't know how exactly you work it out, but your body does not, like if you're already highly stressed, let's say, and then you go and do, that's everybody. But if you go and do, like this really high intense exercise class, that's already driving that sympathetic response up even more.
Yeah.
So I guess for most people, leaning more towards resistance exercise, stuff that's not always just jumping around for 30 minutes. Yeah, a bit more gentle on your body. The classic yoga, Pilates type stuff, like that again is not for everybody. I mean, how many people do I hear going, I hate yoga?
Used to be me. Oh my gosh.
What did you do to change that?
Like, okay, so when I started learning about this, I was like, God damn, I am absolutely in sympathetic nervous system and it's affecting everything. Like, we won't go into the nitty gritty just yet about what it's affecting.
That's another podcast.
Add it to the idea list.
Add it to the idea list.
But like, I knew that like I was in that state and I'm like, okay, how can I get myself more in the sympathetic state of mind? So I literally started researching it. Yeah, saw that yoga was one of the main things you could do. Never really been a yoga person. I'm like, no, I don't bend that way. I'm like, no. But I was like, hey, look, I'll give it a go. I saw this chick on YouTube, Yoga with Cassandra, I think her name is.
Promo for Cassandra.
Yeah, you're welcome, Cassandra. And she had like a 30-day morning yoga challenge and it was literally just 10 minutes of yoga a day. And I'm like, okay, I can commit to that. Never been able to do a challenge in my entire life, but was just like, yeah, why not? I'll give it a go. Maybe I'll surprise myself. And I actually did. For 30 days straight, actually longer because I really loved it. I'd wake up a little bit earlier, which, I mean, that's pushing us again, but at least I was starting it right. And I'd literally lay out my mat and I'd do 10 minutes of yoga at the start of my day. And it just put me in a really calm state of mind. Yeah, I sucked, but like it was so simple and easy. And I mean, anyone can do 10 minutes.
I know.
Like, like 10 minutes is fine. 30 minutes?
Yeah, like sometimes that can push the boundary. Like I know for me, trying to find time to do exercise or specifically parasympathetic stuff in my work day is almost near impossible because I feel like I'm go all the time.
Next to impossible.
Yeah, so I just have to keep finding.
You just gotta find your little
way.
And even if it's just like you're doing a matter of just like one sun salutation, and for you yogis, you know what I'm talking about. But it's just like a sequence of stretching. Just do one of that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like that's easy. You can do that. And you might think, oh, that's, there's no point in doing it because it's just
a point still. Hey,
everything has a point.
That's right. Exactly. Like even if it is 10 minutes, 15 minutes, like heck, sometimes when I give patients stretches, I'm like, look, if you're somebody that you really struggle with doing these things, it's not part of your daily routines, then, you're on your back when you wake up first thing in the morning, just bring both your knees up to your chest and hold that, like rock around for like
give yourself
a few
a
seconds.
hug.
Give yourself
we
a
all
big
need
hug.
it.
Exactly.
We need more hugs.
Free hugs. But yeah, just like fitting time in, because I think me personally, my kind of, I don't know what you'd call it, but the way that I go about life is like hacks, shortcuts.
Yeah.
So
like life hacking your own life.
Exactly. And then just passing on that knowledge to other people. I'm like, look, I'm really only gonna spend 10 minutes of my attention doing this one thing. So 10 minutes, hey, that's better than nothing.
Absolutely. And I think if you try and like take away from, that mentality of almost greed of being like, oh, I should be doing this, I should be doing more of that. And it's almost not worth it if I don't do enough. No, that's a horrible way to look at it, and you will end up being disappointed in yourself. If you say, hey, wow, I managed to do 10 minutes. I took 10 minutes out of my day to do this for myself. Yeah, I know. Like, it can change so much. It can
make the biggest difference. It's funny that you say that, because I had on Thursday last week, I had a patient who, I've known her for a really long time, and she is just always stressed. Like, we always have a giggle because whenever I check her, she's always adrenals. So for my patients who know that side of my practice, you'll understand, right? But this lady, she actually acknowledged that she was like, she's been in burnout state for like the longest time. And it's only really just recently that she kind of realized, okay, well, for me, what I find really relaxing is just having a 10-minute stretch break. So that, and you know, out of her long, busy, crazy ass day, even just taking that 10 minutes out is enough for her to just recharge and get through the rest of the day.
Absolutely. And it's just like, and like, I know we said that, you know, like, oh, coffee, but there's like, it's not always a bad thing, right? Like, say, for example, yoga's not your thing. What if it's like 10 minutes of you sitting down with a cup of coffee and you're just in the moment. You're enjoying every sip you take. You're smelling it. You're tasting it. You're actually being with that coffee and you're making sweet love to that coffee. If you know what I'm talking about, we should be friends.
Yes, that's right. But that's mindfulness too, isn't it?
Yeah, that's absolutely mindfulness. Yeah. That's like, pretty much it.
Slowing everything down. It's taking opportunity to breathe, for one. And like you said, maybe it is a cup of coffee and that we know can still hyperstimulate your adrenals, whatever, especially first thing in the morning. But the fact of the act of sitting there, and maybe you're on your front deck in the morning or something like that, and you're breathing in that clean air, you're looking at everything around you, you're sipping your coffee, not gulping it down and running out the door.
Or like drinking it while you're driving to work, you know?
Yep.
Which is very unsafe. Don't do that, kids.
It's very dangerous. I mean, you might spill coffee on yourself too, and then that's just a waste of coffee.
Yeah, what a waste of good coffee.
Never mind the accident that you caused.
More importantly, it's just the coffee.
The coffee, that's right. Yeah, so I don't know, I just think this whole, like I said at the start, it's like, you know, it's trendy to be in parasympathetics, but it's important, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's really what trend should be about, right? It shouldn't be about like wearing the best clothes. It should be about like getting your body to the best state it can be in.
Yeah, exactly. And everybody's different. That's the challenge, I think. Everyone is different. So what works for one person does not work for another.
Exactly.
I mean, I could, but I tell myself I couldn't do a 30-day yoga challenge. That's just me.
And I didn't think it was me either.
But then you did it.
I did it. And wow. High five me.
Yep.
Yay. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's just a matter of be kind to yourself, work out what your thing is. You know, it could be yoga. It might be sitting on the deck having a cup of coffee. It might even be taking a sec to have a few deep breaths.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, like again, trendy, like all this Wim Hof breathing.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
You know?
He's crazy, but I love him.
Yeah, like the ice baths and all that. Maybe I won't go to that extreme. Not for me, but you know, everyone's different. Or just normal box breathing or meditative breathing, like being aware of that. That comes back to mindfulness and all that kind of stuff too. Hey, that's also helpful at helping you sleep. I can definitely vouch for that.
The box breathing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried doing it myself because I really struggle to fall asleep at night. And it's just like... But then I get like, I start overthinking the box breathing. It's fine. It's like hard to do because like, it's like you're literally, you know, wait, what is, box breathing is like the breathe in for 4, hold for 4, and out for
release. 4. Yeah. And there's varying degrees of that too, because I've seen practice a couple of different ways, and again, I think just do whatever works best for you. Yeah. But yeah, there are lots of ways, which I guess is good.
Gosh, yeah, amazing. Like, do some Googling, guys. Like, look it up on the old interweb.
the Google.
The Google, the Dr. Google. The Dr. Google, am I dying, Dr. Google?
Yeah, exactly, that one there. What about, like, I don't know, I suppose we talked a lot about just other habits that we can sort of follow, but, you know, food, I think, is a big one as well, that we can talk about parasympathetics and sympathetics. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because, now, I've known this for a long time, but it was really nice to have something concrete that I can then refer, say, patients or people that I talk to about the food, how it impacts your sympathetic versus parasympathetic system. So, for example, like I love looking at allergy tests, like food things that people have issues with, and I know for a fact that that in itself can be a stress for people.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, yeah, it's affecting your gut or whatever system it may be affecting you, but it is an important part of helping step away from that sympathetic system state to parasympathetics, right?
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, I don't know much about it. Please enlighten me. I'm all ears.
Sit back, listen to the tea on this. No, look, I'm not an expert per se, but I do know that like certain foods do have an impact on how your system will react to maybe not just stress, but in its entire functional capacity. So like, you know, gluten's a really big everyone kind of talks about
the
gluten.
big ominous gluten word.
Yes, that's right. And like, for example, if say your gut system just reacts really badly, it causes an inflammatory response when you have gluten. That's a stress response. That's going to drive you into a sympathetic state.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you make a good point. Yeah. Yep.
Pain does the same thing.
Yep.
So, if discomfort, that can come from food.
The fear of farting in front of your colleagues.
That's a bit stressful.
Like, I don't know about you, but that's terrifying.
You got to hold it in. But yeah, like, if say people can, find a practitioner, like I can send my patients out for testing for that, but if you can find a practitioner that can send you out for that kind of stuff, so you can actually figure out what the damn hell food you should not be eating.
Yeah.
That's already part of maybe a third of the equation of reducing that sympathetic response down to a more parasympathetically driven one, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, we're talking like practitioners like, we're talking like nutritionists, naturopaths, certain chiropractors, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, like obviously choose the right practitioner.
Yeah, that's
a lot of the time, some people, they don't have that same sort of like
understanding. It's not their forte, their
or their
thing
passion.
And I think that comes down to just doing your research with a practitioner. They might offer all those things, but you got to make sure that that's something that they're very, very experienced and comfortable with dealing with.
Yeah.
Because if they're not, then you probably not going to get anywhere.
No, and maybe also too, don't do it yourself. Just be like, I'm just going to cut out all these food groups because that's not good for you.
You could be really limiting yourself from a lot of good nutrients, so that's not good.
Exactly, and you just don't know. Like, and the thing is too, if you're knocking out a bunch of everything, right? Say like, oh yep, okay, I have like stomach issues, so I'm just going to get rid of gluten and dairy and blah blah blah.
Or FODMAPs.
How are you? Oh yeah. Yep. How are you supposed to know which one it actually is that's triggering you if you get rid of all of them?
That's right. Yep. Yep. So you got to be specific. I think that's the best way to go about it.
And the best way to do that is go with someone who knows what they're talking about.
Right.
Like, please.
Exactly. And not just a classic, it's just dairy. Like, it could be a capsicum for all things.
Yeah.
I've had that happen in practice.
Me too. Like, I've had the old dreaded capsicum,
Yep.
Yeah, don't even get me started.
Yeah. So there's another point, just cut out the foods that are going to be reactive to your system. That is going to drive down that sympathetic response. You're more calm, and your system's not wired all the time trying to freaking fight off all these lectins and crap that it just can't process very well.
Exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with your body. It's just practice some self-kindness as well. That's right.
And it might not be forever. I often tell this to patients, you probably should avoid this thing for a little while, but it might not be a forever thing.
Yeah, it might not be like, oh yes, I can never eat this again.
Yeah, exactly. Because then, contrary to that, if you're cutting out so many different foods for a long period of time, that is also in itself a stress.
And you start getting overwhelmed by food, and then you start going down the realm of really bad relationship with food, which is not good.
That's toxic. Yep.
We don't need that. We're trying to bring people up, not rip them down.
That's right. And look, when you think about it, you need all those nutrients to actually be used in the body for all these different functions that would then help with a parasympathetic nerve response.
Yeah, it's very true.
Right?
It's very true.
So, yeah.
It's almost as if you're a doctor.
Oh my God.
She's a doctor, by the way.
That's so funny when people say, God, you're not a real doctor. And I'm like, well, what does doctor even mean? Maybe that's a podcast. Again, write that down.
Write it down. Add it to the list.
Another idea. What does doctor even mean? But yeah, it's something that I deal with a lot of the time in clinic.
That's the thing. That's what about holistic is, right? Yes. It's not just, cool, I'm here because of my back pain. It's everything.
That's right.
Everything is connected,
that's
blah,
exactly
blah,
right.
blah, blah.
And like you said, not all chiropractors are going to deal in this stuff. I love it. So that's kind of where I fill the gaps in terms of patients' health and outcomes and all that kind of stuff. But, Joe Blow down the road probably doesn't do that. And
Who's Joe Blow? That's a great name.
I wonder who came up with that. Like, who?
I've never heard that before.
John Smith?
John Smith, yeah, but
Joe Blow, that sounds more interesting than John Smith.
Joe Blow sounds like he does something other. Whoa. Keep it PG.
PG, please, Emma. I guess, that's covered a couple of things, like ticking that off the health triangle list, as I say. Emotions, but physical, that's another thing. Like we said with exercise, that's even trauma, physical trauma.
Yes. What do you mean specifically?
Broken bones.
Broken bones.
A broken heart.
A broken heart. That will contribute to
you will be more parasympathetic driven if you're heartbroken. But yeah, just the process of a severe injury or something really traumatic, like a car accident or something, would most definitely impact that stress response.
Absolutely. And like, I mean, even coming down to broken heart, even like as stupid as it sounds, it's true. Like your body carries that trauma.
Yeah.
Say for example, you know, your dog died when you were like 10 years old and that really affected you. You may technically be over the trauma, but your body might not be over it. And that can be another reason that you're not in the right, you know, nervous system. It's because you're still holding on to that stuff.
Exactly.
And it's like, that's okay too. Like there are so many different factors. Like don't let it overwhelm you.
Yeah.
But there are things you can do to make it better.
Oh, definitely. And as we said before, it's just about figuring out what that is for you. And just making time and space for that, to figure that out.
Yeah.
Obviously, I haven't figured my shit out, so.
Yeah, me neither.
But you know what? At the same time, I'm really okay with that because I can be realist in that way. Like I you know, it's about realism, you know. I know that I can't do everything all at once, even though I'd like to, but
that's another like hustle mentality, isn't it? It goes backwards and backwards, right? You know, just like be kind to yourself, take it like step by step, listen to your body, work out what best is for you, and then come up with ways that you can try and bring yourself back. Whether it be a yoga challenge, whether it be, you know, avoiding some food groups, you know, or
getting help.
Getting help.
Help.
Oh my God, ask for help. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with doing it.
Yep.
I do it like all the time.
I know, you're always like coming up to me in between work breaks and you're like, hey Jade, what do I do about exercising? I'm like, oh, let me tell you the tea on that.
You're like, I have a question.
I have a question, sir. Yeah. Oh goodness. That's a topic. This one in particular could certainly go over multiple podcasts, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the truth.
That's right. Oh well, I think we've covered a lot of bases here to give people a bit of an idea where to start with regards to trying to drive their body into more of that parasympathetic state rather than staying in sympathetics. Because, you know, long term, that's not healthy.
Not good for us.
Yeah, exactly. And it encompasses a lot of areas of our health if we continue to stay in that state of health.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you know, if you have any questions, you can reach Dr. Jade on her Instagram. Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. What is my Instagram even? Captain Jade Sparrow.
Oh yeah, Captain Jade Sparrow.
Don't you've got an Instagram?
Oh
for
yeah,
yours as well?
I do. It's Raw and Real Nutrition on Instagram.
Great. Great.
We love that.
So reach out to us if you need to, guys.
Send us a message. Slide into our DMs. Shoot your shot, girlfriend.
Ask me out quick. No, I'm married.
I'm single. Just in case you're wondering. I feel like, have you seen the thing like when they're recording on YouTube, they do a clap so they know when to start? Because that's how you know when to clip it, because it will do a spike.
Yes.
Okay, we should do that.
That's so smart.
Hey, this is Healthful. I'm Emma.
I'm Jade.
What's the next bit? Shit. Grab a tea and let's go. Okay.